Good evening from San Francisco. As you know, I'm Emily, the jet-setting fashionista, and I will be hosting an Instagram Live today with winemaker Jared Etzel from Domaine Roy and Phil's. I actually met them on a recent trip to Oregon. I was in Oregon late June and had an awesome adventure. It has literally been on my wine bucket list for years. And this was one of the wineries that I absolutely fell in love with. So I invited Jared to join me on the IG Live. So stay tuned. I will be inviting Jared on, and you'll get to hear from him in one moment. And by the way, if you guys haven't caught any of my other Instagram Lives, they are all on my IGTV channel. Oh, hello. Hey, Jared.
Hey, Emily, how are you?
Good. How are you? Long time. What has it been, like 5 weeks?
Yeah, time flies.
Well, I'm impressed you remember, because I feel like during harvest, everything's just all about the grapes. So, like, you know, it's probably hard to remember who you meet when.
Yeah, a little bit, but you know, you had an impression on us, and we enjoyed hosting you, and you know, so I'm happy to be with your group, and happy to show you these wines. How's the sound on my end? Is everything all right?
Yeah, it sounds great. How's the sound on my end?
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay, good.
They're all good.
Yeah, no, I think we're in great shape. And gosh, I almost wish we were doing a virtual tour of your beautiful winery, because what an architectural stunner. People are going to have to look at my blog and see what I wrote about it. But in addition to beautiful wines, you have the most beautiful setting.
Yeah, we're really fortunate. It's a cool spot. It's kind of got a contemporary Northwest feel that maximizes the view and gives a nice setting for people to enjoy the wine and relax a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's so much to start. Well, let's start. Where do you want to start? I assume the white?
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to do whatever you tell me to do.
Okay.
You're the puppet master and I'm the puppet.
Well, no, you're the star. I'm just the moderator. So yeah, so maybe I pre-poured. Maybe we can take a little sip of our Chardonnay, and then I would love to just walk everybody through the history of the winery. I was just reading up on it, you know, the vineyard, the story, and all about your family, because you come from a very well-known Oregon winemaking family, which is also really cool. So yeah. Wherever you want to start amongst all of those speaking points.
Sure. I'm tasting, and I think you have with you as well, the Incline Chardonnay 2018 Dundee Hills. And the Dundee Hills Incline Chardonnay is from our estate vineyard, the Iron Filbert. We planted it in 2013, and it's got about 2.5 acres of Chardonnay and about 12.5 acres of Pinot Noir. Mm-hmm. And the Chardonnay, it's two clones 76 and 95. And it's in a section of the vineyard that we thought really excelled for Chardonnay because of its proximity to another excellent producer, Cameron Winery.
Okay.
That makes great Chardonnay. And it was a vintage 2018 that was bright and really generous aromatically, and has the restraint and balance that will allow the Chardonnay to age for a very long time. So
it smells beautiful. Can we tell the viewers what we're smelling?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I get stone fruit, like white peach, lemon.
Subtle lemon, yeah.
Yeah,
lemon. Oh, look, I have the perfect earrings for the lemon.
Nice. You pair your earrings with your wine.
This is a first. My friend gave me these, and I just thought they were fun with the blue, but they worked perfectly with your lemon Chardonnay.
Yeah. And a nice minerality, nice stoniness.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I also had the 17 when I was there. Is the 18 a little bit of a more approachable, fuller vintage than the 17?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because I remember I had them side to side. And you know, what I thought was so interesting about your wines, sometimes you have Pinot Noirs that are just like so big and voluptuous and in your face, and I can tell that's not your style.
Yeah. You know, I try to let the vintage, as much as I can, dictate the style of the wine. I'm here just to guide the wines along and to select the best lots into our top labels, and that's it. So I try to make it as natural as possible. Our foundation of our winemaking is definitely the organic farming, and farming, keeping the yields low, and just making sure that we're doing everything that we can, that the fruit is in excellent shape when we bring it into the winery. And then we do very little in the cellar at that point. We just try to let the fruit speak.
Yeah. And then, so I have a question, because I mean, it took me years to get to Oregon, and I'm going to guess a lot of the people on here haven't been to Oregon, at least had the chance to go to wineries. I'd love if people can comment if you have been to Oregon wine country. Can you sort of explain to us stylistically? Because I think Oregon and California styled wines are a little bit different, just from the winemaking perspective, or at least, you know, like how the grapes are growing and the weather, what you think the differences are.
Definitely. Yeah. I think the beauty of Oregon and what we really try to embrace is making a truly Oregon wine. And to me, that means a wine that has a really fine balance of bright fruit, but slightly lower alcohol and higher acidity. So I find it maybe slightly less fruit than some of the California wines.
Yeah, that's sort of how I felt a little bit during my visits too.
Yeah, and less.
Not like a jammy Russian River Pinot Noir. The opposite of that.
and slightly less alcohol and maybe slightly brighter acidity. The ageability, you know, it depends. There are great producers in California that make wines that are very ageable.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think I love them both. Like, I don't think anybody has to pick. It's just interesting because, yeah, I mean, they're different regions, and I'm studying the W set right now, so I have to like memorize, you know, how far everybody is from the equator and stuff like this. And there's just so many factors that go in.
Yeah.
Like, when do you guys typically harvest a Chardonnay?
The Chardonnay is the first thing that we harvest, and historically, we're the first week of September.
Okay.
And it's we're.
That seems really, a little late. You're later than California, right?
I guess it depends, you know, site to site.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, you know, I don't know exactly on what their harvest dates are. I would guess maybe we're a little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense climate-wise. Yeah, because I'm going to Santa Barbara next weekend, and a bunch of wineries are already in harvest.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, cool. So we're getting a couple questions about your wine. Are you guys able to ship to Canada, or are people able to purchase it in Canada?
Yes. So our wines, our partnership is with all Canadians. So we are strongly represented in Canada with SEQ. And they should be able to purchase the wines at the wine at SEQ.
Right.
And they should be readily available. Shipping, you know, reach out to the winery and Ashley or any of, you know, the team.
Yeah, and they can direct you.
We'll be able to answer, you know, in more depth. But they should be able to find everything in the stores in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of the winery, I was just reading up, I know I'm interviewing you for the blog, which will be getting up very soon. So everybody can have a follow-up with Jared. He's going to share his lifelong secrets on the blog. But in the meantime, can you tell everybody about the site and like Filbert and where you're making these beautiful wines?
Yeah. Do you guys, should I try to give a view of the vineyard from the terrace? Or,
yeah, if you can turn the camera around, and sure, that would be great.
Let's try it. We'll see.
Yeah, why not?
Hope
What's the weather like in Oregon today? It's extremely gloomy in San Francisco.
It's beautiful here. It's mid-80s, so it's really sunny.
Okay, let's see and get all of us Californians jealous.
Yeah, right. Let's see.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. You're going close to where I sat, outside on that corner table. So you guys, yeah, so they have this beautiful outdoor deck, and when I was visiting in June, there was, you know, a great amount of people, but safely, comfortably distanced, and those are the vineyards. Jared, whoa,
yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, so this is kind of our pad and a nice outdoor tasting area.
Yeah.
And this is the Iron Filbert Vineyard, which we planted in 2013. And
Okay.
the name Iron Filbert is just an homage to the fact that it was a filbert orchard for many, many years. And
what is a filbert orchard? I don't know.
Hazelnut and
Okay.
filbert, they're
Okay.
pretty synonymous. And iron, because it's a iron-rich soil, so it's Jory soil.
Yeah.
And that's where we got Iron Filbert.
I love it.
The partnership and the winery started. So my parents started Beaufrere and had partnered with the Roy family,
Okay.
Robert Roy in Beaufrere, and Robert's son Mark Roy and myself, weren't working in Beaufrere, and both love wine and wanted to start a venture. And we both thought, well, if we can find a great terroir, we're going to dive in and do it.
Yeah.
And we just kind of got luck of the draw. We were at the right place at the right time with the real estate agent, and a pocket listing came up, and it was this property, and that kind of put us off to the races.
And then I have to say, I mean, I've been to a lot of wineries and I write about them, and I always sort of, to me, it's like, obviously the wine has to be great and the story, but I mean, your setting is also just so beautiful. It was a local architect, is that correct?
Yeah, it was Stephen Lapp with Waterleaf Architecture. I feel like he really made something that's timeless and kind of just people are able to arrive and like take a breath and relax and deflate and escape and enjoy the wine even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, I walked in and it has this like sort of grand feel. I don't want to like compare it to a restoration hardware store, but it has that modernness of it,
Yeah.
but very different and more special.
Definitely.
And tall ceilings and sort of lofted interior space. And then you sit outside, and I just sat in one of those chairs and I just looked at the vineyard, and the team kept coming and bringing me wine, and I got a little, some nibbles, which, speaking of which, I want to do a little mention, because after I had your olive oil, I decided that I should do a blog post about winery olive oil. So I have to show everybody your adorable olive oil.
Yeah.
Any olive oil lovers, this is so yummy. Of course, I don't have bread or crackers, so I'll either lick it plain or just show it, and we won't do a tasting. But I learned all about the olive oil when I was visiting you guys, and your team sent me home with it, and now I feel like I have a little bit of like Oregon cuisine in my cooking in California.
Definitely. It's something that I fell in love with when I was in California. And we transplanted these 35-year-old olive trees. So they're surrounding our winery here. And, and we get a harvest every year, and our team picks it internally and make a couple hundred bottals. And
very, very exclusive. So get them while you can, guys. When you order your wine, scoop up a bottle of olive oil. So I'm assuming that doesn't fall under the winemaking team's responsibility, the olive oil?
No, the winemaking team is part of the harvest crew.
Okay.
And then bottling it, the hospitality team and the winemaking team both do it kind of together. It's fun.
Cool.
It normally happens right after the grape harvest is over and all the wines are down to barrels. So the timing works out excellent. And, it's something that goes together so well that we feel like it's just,
So speaking of harvest, I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you make this beautiful Chardonnay and what your style is and the barrels. Let's just talk about all the juicy details.
Okay, let's do it. So we pick with a close attention to the acidity. For me, that's a super vital aspect of Chardonnay, because I like Chardonnay that has a lot of that lemony, bright profile. And so we watch the pH of the juice,
and we want it to be right around 3.1 pH, and that's a good indicator of our ripeness, that it's in a realm where we're ready to pick. Our bricks level are around 20, which correlates to an alcohol.
I feel like that's a little bit lower. I usually hear like a little higher than that, maybe where I'm used to.
Yeah, it's definitely low.
Yeah, that's why this 18 tastes like bigger than what I remember. I remember I was like, wow, these are really cool, and like, I mean, I feel like that. What's that trendy word everybody says for the wines that are not biodynamic, like unfiltered? You know, the winemakers that go super eccentric in that style. Like, that's not you, but it felt like you were not, you know, a big buttery California Chardonnay.
I like to walk the line of having crisp and ripe concentrated fruit. Yeah. So we pick it around 20 to 21 bricks, and which is around 12.5% alcohol. And then we sort the fruit intensively and press it right away and ferment it in barrels. They're all neutral barrels, actually. And then we age it in the barrels for 10 months. On the lees, stirring every now and then based on the taste of the wine. If we think that it needs a little more volume and sweetness, and you taste more, or then you stir more. Then we stir more. Taste more. Oh, we do that too. If you taste more, you know, the more you taste, you start to believe, you know, anything that you want in your mind. If you taste enough. I can't stop tasting this, although I am spitting, so I'm just going to keep tasting with you. That sounds good. We'll stir and then bottle the wines unfined and unfiltered. So there are very few steps to our processing. It's really about the fruit and the vineyard. And where are your neutral barrels from? We normally will get them from my dad. So they're Oregon barrels. They're not like French or anything. No, they're French, but he's previously used them when they were new. He bought them new, and then got it. I get the hand-me-downs. But I was gonna say, I mean, I feel like everybody was like, "Oh, have you been to Beaufrere? Oh, have you been to Beaufrere?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know I was supposed to go to Beaufrere." And I mean, I think we talked about my itinerary. I had like 12 wineries in 3 days, so I missed Beaufrere. So maybe next time you'll go with me and show me, introduce me to your dad and show me the way. Yeah, let's do it. That'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, how amazing. So those that don't know Beaufrere, I mean, your father, it sounds like he's like one of the godfathers of the region, right? He's one of the earlier growers and winemakers, and he refers to himself as the second wave. The first wave was like Dick Ponzi and David Lett of Irie, and Myron Redford of Amity. Those were the true OG guys. Yeah. And then my dad came in the early second wave of growers. So he started in purchased the land in '86. And the first, vintage was 1990. Were you born yet? I'm guessing you were a twinkle in their eye. No, I was born in '83, and so grew up on the farm and got to witness all of the development and everything from scratch. That's awesome. I'm always jealous of people that grew up in the winemaking world. I think it's very cool. Yeah, it is. We're really fortunate to be in the industry that we are and enjoy the people and food and and hard work. So I know that you started in Oregon, but you've also sort of ventured outside of the U.S. and done some winemaking stints abroad. Do you want to talk about any of those? Yeah. So my brothers and I would travel together in the summers when we were in college, and our most focus and most of our time was in Spain, in Rioja. We got to work at a great producer named Artadi, and we did 2 vintages actually, harvest there.
Okay.
And then another one in Priorat, so a very rocky, steep cliff vineyard, and it was Chloe Erasmus Winery.
Oh.
And then we've tasted a lot and traveled through Burgundy and done Italy.
I would imagine you got to go on some good trips with your family.
Yes, definitely. We, tasting trips where we're getting to taste a lot of benchmark wines that we really look up to and inspire us. And I think it's important as a producer to have these inspirations.
Yeah. I was listening to one podcast with a Napa Cabernet maker. And he said, I'm actually doing an IG Live with him too, the winemaker from Opus One. And he said he went to Oregon because he's like, I need to know how to make good Pinot, to make good Cabernet. And I'm like,
Michael Salaki?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He actually took his team to Beaufrere a couple times. And I think the last time he was here was maybe two, 3 years ago. Unless I missed him, he could have been here earlier. But yeah. No, it's important.
I never heard obviously, you don't necessarily make one varietal your whole life, but like once you're at Opus making Cabernet, you probably don't go anywhere after that. And so I just thought it was very cool that someone was, wise enough to understand to like go to different regions and master skills outside of just your one specialty. It was a very fun fact.
Definitely. I think there's actually a lot of crossover. I think, grapevines, despite the different varietals, they behave similarly. And so you can take philosophies, and the philosophy can be applied to different varietal and a different region and have a different effect, but still be a very good philosophy and something that you can follow.
Well, I'll never forget. I feel like winemakers always talk about how difficult Pinot Noir grapes are and how like bitchy they are, and like
they are
they really thin-skinned and they're just hard to harvest, and you don't want to bang them up and all these things. So I feel like if you can master Pinot Noir, you can handle anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just do your best and trust your vineyard and try not to manipulate the grapes that you get, and you'll make something true. And I think true and soulful is something great to rely on, and it works out.
I want to use that quote in your interview, true and soulful. And also I love the quote, walk the line. It sounds like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of true and soulful, should we move on to your beautiful Pinot Noirs? I don't want to forget about that.
Yeah, let's do it. So we have the Willamette Valley 2018. So it's a blend of our 2 estate vineyards. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love your label, by the way. Is there a story there?
Yes, there is. So the label, we wanted to represent that the Willamette Valley is a blend of our 2 estate vineyards. And the blue triangle represents our Yamhill Carlton vineyard because it's a marine sedimentary soil. And so I thought marine and blue go together well.
Yep.
And the orangish red is our Dundee, which is volcanic soil. And I thought that red-orange represented volcanic well. And so it's almost like a yin and a yang, and they're together. And that's what this wine is all about. And you can see on the Incline Dundee Chardonnay, it's just the red, red-orange. So that's kind of, we wanted a label that was pleasing to look at and supported the story, and that's how we kind of ended up.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So the ones that are from both vineyards have the red and the blue, and the other just has the single color. Yeah. And the filbert is the Alameda Hills, right?
No, the filbert is, so the iron filbert is our Dundee estate, and that label, and I'll grab the bottles and show you guys.
That's this one.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Cool.
It's just got an iron filbert on it, and that is our halo wine. So that's kind of the selection, tiny selection of what we thought our best barrels were in that vintage.
Oh, I think I feel like I tried everything, so I must have tried that when I was there.
You probably did.
I think I tried like 5 or 6 things. I even tried your rosé. It was a lot of hard work, but I enjoyed it.
Nice. So the 18 Willamette Valley, blend of both of the sites, and it was a opulent, beautiful vintage in Oregon. I think that the 18 vintage will probably go down in the Oregon history books as heralded as one of the greats, because we had a lot of warmth and lower rainfall, but we didn't have heat spikes, so there's freshness and precision in the wine.
Yeah.
And it's a special vintage where the balance is there and the fruit.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, side by side, like what would you say on the nose the differences in the Willamette and the Incline?
Well, on the 17 Incline, so we're tasting a different vintage on that, and it's just the Dundee Hills. So for me, the Dundee Hills Incline Pinot 17 has more of a bacon fat.
Definitely earthier, just like more rustic.
Red fruit, but it's a little less fruit than the 18 Willamette Valley, and it has some more complexity and depth to it aromatically.
Yeah, definitely more savory, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to put a steak on the grill and pair it.
It's about that time.
I know. Well, it's funny. I said Willamette Hills. I meant Dundee Hills. But when I was driving in to your winery, I mean, they're no joke hills. Like literally, I felt like I was. I have like a little sporty car, and sometimes I think I'm a race car driver, and I literally felt like I got air a few times.
Yeah, there are some really fun roads.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously driving the speed limit and being safe, but.
For sure.
Cool. So, yeah, super different. 18 versus 17. So you have released the Incline a year later than the blend. Is that why we're not tasting the 18?
We could have tasted the 18. Yeah, I think that we try to target the release of the wines when they're drinking most optimally and kind of open. Yeah. And it's kind of fun to have the juxtaposition of the fruit-driven Willamette Valley
18.
And some of the spice and complex notes of the Dundee Incline 17.
Well, and you can definitely tell the 2 years. I mean, I agree with you that it's fun because I feel like they're just very different.
Yeah, massively different. It is fun. That's the beauty of it all, and something that we really work towards is, again, having the wine represent the difference of the vintage. Mm-hmm. So,
can we come up with a walk the line for the reds, please?
A walk the line for the reds.
I know. I need an equivalent quote. That was just so perfect for the Chardonnay.
Well, maybe it'll come. It's I gotta, get my creative juices flowing.
So speaking of creative juices, I want to make sure to make an announcement because I want to make sure everybody watching this gets to know that they could be doing something creative with us. So Domaine Roy and Phil's is going to be partnering with me and an amazing cooking brand that I adore. It's called the Truffle Shuffle. And they are going to be doing a cooking class at the end of August. So I will be sharing all of this on social media, guys. So if you follow me, keep an eye out. If you don't follow me, follow me. And Domaine Roy, you guys will be sharing on your email list as well. So anybody that enjoys these beautiful wines and cooking, you should definitely join us. It's going to be a Sunday afternoon, the 30th. all the details, the link, the time will be coming soon. But we have a very special recipe that's going to pair beautifully with one of their wines. God, I sure hope we can weave the olive oil in. I'll just have it on the side.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to be harvesting, so we'll see if we get to see you, or else, Ashley or someone else on the hospitality team.
Yeah, I occasionally, for something that delicious, I may pop my head up from the cellar and sniff.
Well, you guys have like a little mini kitchen at the winery, right?
Yeah.
So maybe someone on the team should just cook the recipe, follow along, and then be like, Jared, come on up for a break.
Harvest dinner, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share more of your wines. So those of you guys that might not have been able to stock up on wines for this, you have another chance at the end of the month. Yeah.
I like it.
So let's talk about the Pinot clones, because I like to sort of geek out. Which definitely. Is in which?
Well, we have a broad representation of clonal material in the Willamette Valley.
Okay.
It's from both properties. And the objective of the Willamette Valley is to make a wine that, well, first and foremost is true to the vintage and the sites. And then secondarily, we want it to be accessible early on.
Okay.
Because the Willamette Valley is in a price point that you can daily drink it and it won't break the bank. It's a very, very good value.
Are we talking about your good value or the region itself?
I think both. I mean, it's priced.
These are $60, right?
The Willamette Valley is $39.
Oh, okay. I was like, gosh, you drink a nice daily
so
wine.
the incline 60 and the Willamette Valley is 39.
Yeah, I agree. 39. That, as long as you're not, you're drinking every drop, that you can justify that for a weeknight.
Definitely. Well, and they're organically grown grapes, and a product that's made in very low quantities and with a lot of hand labor and love.
So we did get a question about the organically grown grapes. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. So we are certified organic, and we then essentially we have to follow the guidelines of Oregon Tilth, which complies then with USDA organic, and our spray program is simply using natural elements, so non-lab synthesized chemicals. So we can use sulfur, we can use other biofungicides. There are lactobacilluses that will outcompete powdery mildew, which powdery mildew is the main thing that we spray for in a vineyard, and that we need to keep at bay. And sulfur, which is a natural element, it's mined, combats the powdery mildew, and that's allowable in organics. So we just make sure that we're not using a lot of it, and we're using the absolute minimum. And then we do things like natural things to try to enhance the airflow in the canopy. So we'll pull more leaves, we'll shoot select. What does
shoot select mean again?
Well, we'll remove, the vine wants to produce many more shoots than we need.
Yeah.
So we'll break those shoots off, and it reduces the yield, and it also opens the airflow, and the airflow ensures that we don't get diseases on the grapes.
So you're talking about cutting buds off the vine, right? You just trim it back, so there's lead. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you're using cooler winemaking terminology than I know, so just making sure I'm following along.
Yeah, just ask. If something's unusual, then I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Dive
Thank you. And then for your, for your Pinot Noir, are you using any stem inclusion?
Yeah, we use a small amount, and it's vintage dependent. So in 2018, we used a fair amount of whole cluster. Well, a fair amount. I mean, for us, around 15% whole cluster in the fermentation.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that go much higher. I'm going little by little. I want to learn. And, you know, sometimes whole cluster can make the wines overly stemmy. I just want to
also tanniny, right? Because doesn't the cluster give you tannin?
Definitely.
And I feel like you're trying to avoid the tannin with the neutral barrel, so it's like.
Yeah, exactly. We want elegance and to speak of the site. So we just have a little kiss of it, and sometimes it'll give.
There's your word. Just a little kiss of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I love it. I really love this one. Like, I could just drink this all night. I'm heading up glamping after this. Like, literally, I'm driving the moment we finish. That's why I'm spitting so much. And I can't wait to reopen this bottle and sit by the campfire. It's going to be so delicious.
Nice.
Yes.
So then on the winery side for organics, we don't add anything. So it's native fermentation, so no inoculations. And yeah, I mean, it's really just the grapes fermented in the barrel.
Do you do punch downs?
We do a little of both. We'll do pump over and punch down. We'll just go through and taste the tanks daily. And as they're fermenting, decide in the moment.
Punch downs are really hard. I've been to harvest a couple times, and I mean, like, not even 6 hours a day. Like, it's been very easy, not hard work harvest. Yeah. And I did like a punch down, and I did the punch over. Well, the punch over, the machine did it, but holy cow! After like an hour, or even not even an hour, like your arms are so sore.
You get acclimated after a little bit.
It's a weightlifting wine thing.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you're using like muscle that, unless you're used to it, it's an unusual muscles, and I think so. It tires you out quick if you.
It's probably like when you surf and you do the paddling, how tired your arms get. Yeah. Interesting.
Sure.
Cool. Well, I mean, I forgot to spit some of this, so I think I really, really love that one. So those that are joining and were wondering what we were tasting, I mean, I just found that, to your point, you know, a little bit like bigger and just like luscious and silky and lovely, and like that. I hate to use the word jammy because sometimes winemakers don't like that, but I tend to like a fruit forward Pinot Noir. And I thought that's exactly what this was, but in a very restrained, measured way.
Yeah. No, I love fruit. Fruit's it's important, and it's an important part of Oregon wines. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yes.
Some of my favorite, you know, I drink a lot of Beaujolais.
Yeah.
And they have loads of fruit, but you know the value's there, and they're beautiful, and you know, so.
Yeah. It's funny. I just tasted a Northern Rhone and a Southern Rhone this week and last week for my tasting group, and I sometimes like corner myself, like I'm like, I don't like Syrah. I don't like this. I do the same thing with food. Oh my God, they were beautiful. Like, I think I just like need to find the right one. And so, yeah, I mean, I was just about to say I don't like Beaujolais much, but maybe I haven't tried the right one.
Yeah, I agree. I think almost every varietal out there, I've found amazing producer that makes a spectacular version. The one challenge that I'm still looking to find the missing wine on is Pinotage. If somebody can tell me a great Pinotage, because I just haven't found it yet. But other than that, of everything covered.
So you know what's funny? That was another thing that surprised me about Oregon. There was a lot of people that were making not Pinot Noir, Gamay.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like literally, I probably tasted 6 or 8 out of 12 wineries, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is trending." I don't think the trend has gotten down to California yet, because I haven't really seen it as prevalent in California. But are you gonna make one?
One day, hopefully, I will. Right now, we're 100% estate vineyard, and we haven't planted any Gamay, but that doesn't mean that we won't. And I really love Gamay, and you're right, there are quite a number of great producers in Oregon making them.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Definitely. Walter Scott makes a good one. Brick House makes a good one.
I had the Brick House one.
Evening Land makes a really good one.
I know. I didn't get to try Evening Land. They didn't have it that day, but I'm tasting with Raj next weekend in the vineyard, so maybe I'll get to have some then.
Ask him to, because theirs is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited. That's one of the reasons I'm going to Santa Barbara to, visit his vineyards. And Santa Barbara is just one of those regions I don't really need an excuse to go. It's like Oregon. I feel like I'm going to be back before the new year. I told Ashley I'm coming back. So you guys, we're going to be doing Beau Frere before you know it.
All right.
Well, I guess I've already started smelling the Incline. I love that. I mean, it definitely tastes, is that like the clay soil? It tastes just like brown and like.
Yeah, there's definitely a flintiness to it. That's really nice. I get bacon fat, red fruit, flint. It's kind of a more wild wine.
Yep. And then do you produce the same amount of both, or I'm assuming you do a little bit more of the Willamette Valley and less of this one?
Yeah, there's more of the Willamette Valley. The Incline is the highest end one that goes through the distribution channels. Of course, the Iron Filbert and the Quartz Acorn are smaller than the Incline, but it's pretty low production. It's normally 300-400 cases.
And is this like only Wine Club can get this, and if they visit the winery?
Yeah, we sell 90% of it. Well, maybe not 90%. 80% of it out of the winery, and then we also have it distributed. So we want to be in some really great restaurants and and wine shops.
I can't wait for restaurants to reopen in California and be able to see you on the wine list and order a bottle.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I totally forgot. One of our viewers earlier asked how far the drive is from San Francisco to Willamette Valley. And since I just did it, I mean, I'm going to tell you what I think it is. So I think it took me about 10 and a half, 11 hours total. Have you done it straight through?
Yeah. 10 hours. Yeah.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share a little secret. I got a ticket about the first 30 minutes of my drive. So I went way slower than normal.
Oh, man.
I can't believe I just reviewed that on the record, but it's okay. I have a lead foot.
Yeah.
It probably took me a little longer than you because after I got my ticket, I was only going like 5 to 8 over the speed limit, which was dreadful.
Yeah. I've made the drive many times. Really beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. And honestly, I stopped along the way. What is that region where Irvine and Roberts is? I swung by there. It's like 5 hours. It's right past the lake, the California border.
Oh, okay. You were in like Ashland area?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So anybody that wants to do the drive, I highly suggest you leave SF at like 6 or 6:30. Don't get a ticket. Drive about 5 hours to Ashland. Stop at Irvine and Roberts. It's a lovely winery, beautiful wines. Get a bite. And then I was at, I stayed at Chehalem that night, and I was there by like 5:30 or 6. It was perfect.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, people that are going to be driving from San Francisco, it's totally manageable. I mean, I did it with one driver myself, but imagine if you had someone else to switch driving with.
Oh, yeah. You could do a time trial.
9 hours. That would actually be really fun to have 2 cars racing. Yeah. So anyway, oh gosh, lovely. So is there anything that, about the Pinots that's sort of a fun little fact that people might not know that you can share with us?
Well, I guess I'm trying to think of a fun fact.
Wait, there's these two, and then there's one more Pinot. Is that correct?
Yes, there are 2 more Pinots actually. So there's that Iron Filbert.
Yep.
And then we also make this one, which is the Quartz Acorn. So that's our kind of halo wine from the Hill Carlton Estate Vineyard.
Okay.
So we make essentially an Incline Chardonnay from each of the 2 sites, an Incline Pinot Noir from each of the 2 sites, 1 Willamette Valley Pinot, 1 Willamette Valley Chardonnay, and then we make the Vineyard Designate Iron Filbert Pinot and a Chard, and Vineyard Designate also the Quartz Acorn Pinot and Chard.
So you have 10 wines.
Is that, yeah.
Yep, that's what I just counted.
Quick math, but yes, that's what.
So I think I maybe tried 8 of them when I was there. I got to look at the photos. I should have remembered. Well, it's hard to tell because sometimes I think we revisited it and I had the same wine but different years.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's hard to keep that track of that many wines as you're tasting and drink more and more
yeah. Especially when they bring the cheese plate out and I'm nibbling and enjoying the olive oil, you get a little distracted.
Exactly.
Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm trying to think. We talked about the August 30th cooking class. So anybody that just joined, save the date, August 30th. Domaine Roy and Phil's will be joining me and Truffle Shuffle, which is a fabulous cooking group I've gotten involved in. I've taken a few of their classes. And so for those of you that opt in, you basically buy the recipe, they send you the ingredients, and then you can decide to buy the wine pairing with it and then make a beautiful dinner. And, Ashley from Domaine Roy or Jared, if he's not working too hard in harvest, will come in, talk about the wine. And the Truffle Shuffle team members are former French Laundry alum, which is also where your colleague Ashley's from. Yep. So it's going to be a very spectacular culinary and wine experience. And I will obviously be tuning in and joining for that as well. So save the date, August 30th. I think it's 2 p.m. Not quite sure. It feels so far away, but just save the whole afternoon. And if you missed the first half of this Instagram live, it will be going on my Instagram TV and also on my YouTube channel, which is Jet Setting Fashionista. And I'm going to be revealing an interview from Jared any day now. Right, Jared?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just sitting by my computer waiting for the results so you can get to know Jared a little bit more, too.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me on and tasting the wines and
Thank you. Should we let's do a little cheers. I'm going to try to get a photo of us together, which is always the hard part with this little tripod.
All right.
Okay. Right. Yes, I have to reach around. Okay, 1, 2. I can't see your face though.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
All right.
It's challenging.
2, 3. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cool. Well,
thanks again,
thanks to
Jared.
your viewers as well. And
and
enjoy the
next
wines.
Time I see you, besides our cooking thing, will be in Oregon.
Awesome.
Okay,
well,
have a great night. Thanks again.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.